Hello everyone and welcome back to Classic Challenge. So, last episode we sorted out this field and we got its productivity up a great deal. Now apparently there is still a bit of weed in there, but can't see it. So, oh yeah, there we go. We must have missed a few when, we missed a few when we were doing. But its productivity will be a lot better. And hopefully next time when the weeds grow, we'll be able to get rid of them a bit easier. But the project for today is to get this field turned around. And then once we've done that, we can potentially start a new field just behind the trees over there. So what I'm going to do... So what did we plant in here now? I've forgotten. We put barley in here, isn't it? Yeah, so we've got barley in there. We did oats last time. But what I'm thinking we will do this time is... I think we'll do wheat in this field. Or should we do barley and it's the same as that one? No, because that one's going to be ready for this one. Yeah, we'll do wheat. We'll do a wheat harvest in this field and get it all ready, and we'll get it fertilised once it gets into its first growth stage. But first, before we do that, we need to put the second application of fertiliser on this field. If we do that, and then we'll prep that field up for its for getting ready to plant it and what have you. So if we jump into the Ferguson, get it started up. Now like I said, it's a bit of a pain with the boom in this shed, but we'll make it work. So I might as well refill the fertiliser while we're doing, and let's get the first application, second application should I say, not first. Let's get the second application of fertiliser on this field. Now, I have got crop destruction off because obviously with such small machinery, we're going to cause some issues with... there won't just be tram lines, there won't be a lot of crop left. So, I am keeping it off with us using all this classical machinery and what have you. We don't want to have zero crops, especially with how small the fields are. Oh, I forgot to move the Fordson. It's still sat where I left it yesterday. We'll move that when we get to it. But now, this crop should be really, really productive. Now, like I said, there's some weeds in here that I have missed, which is unfortunate. But we will get it better next time, hopefully, and we'll try and get them all. Problem is, it was going dark when I was doing the weeding, so I couldn't really see all too well where the weeds were. And obviously, when you start working in the dark, you make mistakes and things get missed, obviously. But it's one of them things, there's not an awful lot we can do about it. Right, I'll stop here and we'll move the Fordson. Just leave that there running. Get this out of the way and get it back off because this is a really loud tractor. And it deafens me. Right, let's put it in the shed and we will find a home for this weeder. Hopefully we've got a bit of space for it because we are starting to gather quite a reasonable amount of equipment. We're getting there quite a bit now. Put it there. There we go. Beautiful. That's the weeder sorted, and we'll put the Fordson over here because we're not going to need it for a little while. We will need it very soon, but not until we've done the fertilising. Get across there again. And back in the Ferguson. Right, let's get these last couple of applications on. I am actually really looking forward to seeing what we get out of this field. Obviously it is barley, so we're not going to get a great deal of money for it, but I'm hoping that we do get a reasonable amount of money for it, even though it is only going to be a small crop and a small amount. of well, grain. I was going to say seed then, but no, it's grain. I'm hoping we get... I'm hoping for around 2k. Hoping. That's sort of the ideal figure that I've got in my head. Is 2,000 for this field. That would be nice. You know, maybe wishful thinking, but it's an ideal figure. I think 2,000 would be a nice amount for this field. Considering it's barley, it's kind of sorted, even though there's weeds in it still. And it's fully fertilised. Obviously, because we do need to keep up with the seed and the fertiliser and everything, so we need the money to be able to purchase these things. So even if it just pays for a crop for now, and then whatever we get out of the second field is a bonus. Which is the way it should work, really. You know, you have your areas where it pays for everything, and then you have your other areas which are your profit. And that's the way you want your business to work. Okay. So, let's put this back in the shed, and then we'll crack on with cultivating that field. So, we're not going to need the Ferguson now, probably for the rest of the day. Probably going to just be using the Fordson. Because I don't particularly want to do too much field work with this front loader on this tractor. So if we put this back where it belongs. There we go. And then we'll just back this into the space that's sort of here. That'll do. And we'll just leave it there. Right, onto the Fordson. So we now need the cultivator so that we can cultivate that second field. Let's get it hooked up. There we go. So if we get this all cultivated in and then seeded, and we'll just get it all done in one run. I won't break off or anything, we'll just crack on and get this bit done. That way we can move on to the next job. So don't get me wrong, it's nice to do a bit of a catch up in between, but I really do want to get on to creating a new field today. And then that'll bring us more profit, which is what we need. We need money to expand. Let's crack on. And there we go. That is the wheat field seeded, which is absolutely wonderful. And if we can keep on top of it and get no weeds in it, unlike that one there, we should have a reasonable crop out of that field. But now, we are going to move on to creating the new field. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this back, and then we'll grab a plough. My most favourite job in the world, not. I absolutely despise ploughing. Don't know why. I've never been a fan of it. I don't know why. I just find it a very tedious job. It's not much fun. So anyway, I'm thinking that the field, so I'm sort of looking at the map a little bit. If we could put a field in, sort of along the side of this track. Now there is a few trees in the way, and we could potentially remove them later, but for now we will just sort of work round them and we'll make little islands. But we will use this track as a guide. So I'm thinking that we can have a field here, potentially 2 small fields over there, and this section over here I'm thinking we could use for animals. Not sure yet, we'll see how that works out. But obviously with this being a bit of a mound, it's not really going to be good for placing animal pens or anything like that. So obviously we don't want to be building on there. I do think it would be more appropriate to use it for a field. So let's just... 1 second. Yeah, I thought I might do that. Right, so we want to create fields. There we go, we can turn that off again. I always forget what control it is. And we are going to make the outline for the field. Now, it's going to be a reasonable size field. It's not going to be too small. But I don't want it to be absolutely massive as well. Because if it's absolutely massive, it's going to, with the equipment we've got, it is going to take a while to actually be able to farm it, which we don't want. It's going to take. We don't want it to take too long. You know, we want it to be workable. So let me just neaten this up because I'm a stickler for trying to get these fields neat when I'm doing them. Right, so if I do that, that sort of cuts in there, and then pull forward, and that should. That's not too bad, not the best, but drop like that. Yeah, it'll do that. It'll do. It's not perfect, but it will do. So we're going to pull over this way, and then we're going to. It's sort of like a hidden road just here, with the looks of it. So we're going to come up to the edge of this sort of hidden road. We're going to go pretty much to our boundary, which is about there, and then back down. And I think that's going to be a good bit of field for us to work. Just need to make sure I stay on our side of the boundary. So if we stay on the left, the right hand side of the tree, that should just keep us inside our boundary. There or thereabouts. Now we probably could go a little bit further to the left, but like I said, I don't want to encroach on the boundary too much, because then we end up with problems of you do not own this field and such, which is something that we don't want to be having problems with. Right, so if we come round and then back to where we started, and that should be perfect. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly jump out of my tractor, turn it off a second, and just bear with me 1 second. So just giving you a quick aerial view, that's roughly going to be the field that we're going to be working on. Now, like I said, it's nothing massive, but it is big enough, especially for the equipment we've got. And then, like I said, we've got that entire section just up there, and I'm thinking if we cut that into like 2 smaller fields, And then this area just behind the trees here, we could turn into potential animal area or animal working area. Or even here on the track, we could have some animal pens. Right, anyway, back to normality. Let's get back on the tractor. But yeah, I'm thinking that's going to be sort of like a decent layout for us. I think that's going to be the way it'll work best. Personally, that's what I think. If you guys have any opinions on it, please let me know. And if it's a good idea, we may go forward with it. But that's sort of what I'm thinking at the moment. Like I said, I'm not going to remove the trees. One, because we don't have a stump grinder, and it'll make it harder to see the tree. So what we'll do is we'll just create some little islands and work around the trees. We're not going to interrupt them. We'll just leave them as they are. Let's get this next run done around the field. And then, hopefully, this should bring us in a nice tidy profit crop-wise. Because it is definitely going to be a lot more land than we've been working at the moment. Because what we've been working at the moment is just 2 really small fields. Not really worth much to us. Well, they are worth something, but they're not worth a great deal to us in regards to workable area. But the more we have, the more money we make, and the better things will be. But anyway, I am going to crack on with ploughing this field, and hopefully shouldn't take too long to get it done. that is the field expansion pretty much done. Just got this last little row here to get rid of, But I think that is going to be a wonderful field for us to get more crops out of. So the only thing that I kind of noticed that may be a little bit of a concern is this end of the field. I'll show you just now. So just over here is a little bit on the steep side as you come down. I think the harvester and tractor may struggle a little bit if we try to come up that hill. So we'll just have to get smart when we do the harvesting on that section. There we go, that's that turned off. We'll have to get smart when we're doing that section of the field and just make sure that we're not coming uphill to when we're harvesting, because I do have a feeling it may struggle a little bit just to get that bit done. But other than that, I think we've done fairly well with that. So we've got the new field just there now, we've got the small field just there, and we have our original field here. Now we may expand this up to the fence or near the fence and a little bit that way once that crop is done, just to get a little bit more out of that field. I think that might be a good idea, or maybe not, we'll find out. We can always return it back to grass if we need to, but I do think it'll be a good idea to try and get a bit more out of that field. So let's just drop this here. There we go. Yeah, I do think it'll be worth trying to get a little bit more out of that field, just so that it's earning us a bit more money than what it currently is. But I don't think we could really build anything here. I think it's a little bit too small. Maybe a silage pit. Maybe we'll put a silage pit in against the fence or something. I don't know. But then again, we've got this land sort of going through here where the road is. We could always put a silage pit over here as well. So which means we could plough that up. We're not going to get much extra land, but we will get a bit. And then same again down that end, just expand it a little bit further. Now I'm still undecided whether to get rid of that, because that could be used for something. We could put an animal building there or a storage shed. We could build a new storage shed there maybe. It's all possibilities, and I'm sure we'll figure it as we go along. But unfortunately, I think that's all we have time for today. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you again very soon. And bye for now.